Hi everyone, I'm Jorgelina. I am not a licensed mental health practitioner. I will read from my memoirs. This is one small pamphlet from a very large collection. It's called Guilt of the Caregiver. I Couldn't Let Her Go, Journey Through Alzheimer's. This is when I was taking care of my mother with Alzheimer's. In October of 2015, I introduced my four-part series, Journey of a Caregiver, at the Unitarian Universalist Church in Arlington, Massachusetts. Guilt of a Caregiver is a response to the intense anguish, struggle, guilt, and despair that I sensed in my audience at that presentation. I knew what they were feeling. I had been there. I wrote this in 2019. May these pages bring insight and comfort to those whose heart is breaking as they go through this most difficult journey of separation and loss of the one they love the most. So I start on page 19, the section called I Couldn't Let Her Go. A few times I witnessed my mother's dance with death when she was in the nursing home, as she flowed in and out of lethargic states that threatened to take her away. I could not bear the thought of my mother dying, period. If she died, I would die with her. I had to let her go, and I couldn't let her go. As I struggled through the nursing home years to find closure, to let go of my mother, it became clear that there was still a lot of unfinished business in our mother-daughter relationship. A relationship that had carried a great love and loyalty and beauty and conflict and hurt and confusion. I did a lot of inner work through the nursing home years, trying to clear that relationship, to find healing to it. Still, there were two more pieces that required resolution before I could let her go. Massachusetts, 2007, at the nursing home. The two most wonderful words my mother ever said to me. Lost in her dementia, a stream of words without meaning pouring out of her mouth. Perdóname, Jorgita, she said. Forgive me, Jorgita. Throughout her life, my mother had never been able to say, I'm sorry. She had never been able to acknowledge her mistakes. It was only in her late 80s, from the faraway world of her dementia, that for the very first time ever, my mother asked for my forgiveness. It was only then that I learned that she knew she had hurt me. Her words also reaffirmed my conviction. She was still there, and she too was looking for closure. The power of two words, forgive me. The weight that was lifted from my heart, a weight I had carried for a lifetime. The relief, the release that I felt, no words can describe. My mother had asked for forgiveness, and I was not ready to grant it. In spite of all the inner work I had done, I was still choked up from our lifelong toxic, abusive, dysfunctional relationship. That was our truth. Great love and great dysfunction. It was now crystal clear that to let go of my mother, I had to forgive her. Nothing else would do. In 2009, I came down with pneumonia, and for many months I was unable to visit her at the nursing home. When I became stronger, wearing a mask for I was a high risk, I went to say goodbye. I had written a letter to her, a very carefully written letter. I had to speak my truth to my mother, something I had never been able to do in our lifetime, for she had never been able to listen. Now, at the end of her life and from the space of her soul beyond the disease, I knew she would. My mother was finally going to listen to what I had to say. I had to speak my truth with compassion and self-love, for I knew if I wrote to her words of blame or self-condemnation, those words would come back to haunt me. And sitting at her bedside, I read to her. Nenete, I said, I know that you can hear me and understand me. I have something to say to you. I have loved you as I have never loved anyone, and you chose to sacrifice me. I have carried your weight through a lifetime. I cannot carry you any longer. I took care of you the best I could. I cannot take care of you anymore. I have nothing left to give you. The sacrifice is over. I am walking out of the prison you built for me. I need to take care of myself now. I have nothing left to give you other than my forgiveness. You have my forgiveness. You have my forgiveness. And I know Christy, my sister, forgives you too. And so does God. You have been forgiven. You have a clean slate now. Wherever you are going, you are being held in love. I have come to say goodbye. I wish you peace. You need to move on, and so do I. You need to move on without me, and I need to move on without you. Reach out to the light. Reach out to your own soul. Reach out to God. He is waiting for you with open arms. So I have been in this healing journey for many decades now, and I have done a lot of work to process the relationship with my parents. They were wonderful people, but they were wounded as everyone else is. It's part of being human. And part of that relationship meant that I was never able to speak to them, to have a meaningful conversation. There was no connection. There was a lot of love, but there was no communication. What I have learned is that I can work through the wounds caused by the relationship with my parents, even without speaking to them. There's inner work that can accomplish that. I have also learned that it's better to attempt to heal when they are still alive, but if that is not doable, a lot of healing can take place after they pass away. This was actually the case in the relationship with my father, and I mentioned that in a longer video that will come soon as part of a video series called Triumph of Truth. These are longer videos. I wish you all healing. It's not easy, but it can be done. So don't give up. Don't ever give up.